The apartment was too small for secrets, but Elias had been living with quiet ones for years. His place sat above a closed repair shop on the edge of Port Amber, a city most star maps forgot to label. Ships passed overhead every day, bright lines in the sky that never stopped, never slowed, never looked down. Elias liked that. He liked being unnoticed. He worked night shifts, maintaining signal relays for cargo traffic. It paid enough. It asked nothing else from him. When he came home that evening, the lights flickered as usual. The air hummed softly, and everything was exactly the way he expected. Until the air folded. At first, Elias thought it was an electrical fault. The room dimmed, then stretched, like someone pulling on reality itself. Sound vanished. Even his own breathing felt distant. A shape appeared in the center of the room. Not formed, not solid, just a wrongness where nothing should be. Then she fell. Not hard, not fast. She simply slipped out of the air and collapsed onto the floor, as if gravity had been waiting for her. The room snapped back into place. Sound returned in a rush. Elias staggered back, heart racing, staring at the figure lying between his table and chair. She was not human. That was the first clear thought his mind managed. She looked young, maybe his age, maybe younger, but her skin held a faint silver tone, like moonlight trapped under flesh. Her hair was dark, but it moved as if underwater, even while still. Her clothes were seamless, smooth, marked with symbols Elias did not recognize. Her eyes were closed, but her face was tight with pain. Not the pain of injury, but of strain, like someone holding their breath for too long. Elias stood frozen. His training told him to report anomalies. His instincts told him to run. His curiosity told him to look closer. Before he could decide, every screen in the apartment turned on at once. Emergency broadcast. Unregistered spatial breach detected. Category 0 anomaly confirmed. All citizens are required to report irregular entities immediately. The message repeated in several languages. None of them were human. Elias swallowed. He looked from the screens to the girl on his floor. Her fingers twitched. "No," he whispered without knowing why. "No, no, no." He moved fast, faster than he thought he could. He shut down the screens, pulled the power, ripped cables from the wall. His hands shook, but his mind felt sharp in a way it hadn't for years. The girl made a small sound, like a breath breaking free. Elias knelt beside her. Up close, she looked fragile. Not weak. Fragile, like something not meant to exist in this environment. Faint lines of light pulsed along her temples, fading in and out. "Hey," he said softly, unsure if she could hear him. "Whatever you are, you can't stay visible." As if she understood, her eyes opened. They were not glowing. Not strange colors. They were dark, deep, and full of fear. She looked around wildly, then at him, and her gaze locked onto his face. Her lips parted, and she spoke in a language that sounded like layered echoes. Elias didn't understand a word, but the meaning was clear.
"Help!" The building's sensor chimed once.
A soft tone, polite, deadly in its timing.
Scan sweep initiated.
Elias cursed under his breath. He grabbed a blanket from the couch and gently covered her, trying not to think about how unreal this all felt. The blanket shifted oddly, as if her shape resisted being defined. "Okay," he muttered. Okay. He dragged a panel from the floor, exposing the crawl space beneath his apartment. It was old, unused, shielded only because no one had bothered to upgrade it. Analog, gaps, dead zones. The kind of flaws large systems ignored. He looked at her. "I don't know who you are," he said quietly. "But if they're looking for you like that, I'm guessing they won't ask nicely." Her eyes followed him. Slowly she nodded. He helped her sit up. She leaned heavily against him, lighter than she should have been. As they lowered themselves into the crawl space, Elias felt a strange pressure in the air, like the world was trying to remember she existed. The scan passed overhead. Lights flickered. Sensors hummed. Then silence. Elias held his breath long after it was over. In the dark, the girl pressed her forehead lightly against the floor above them, as if grounding herself. The glowing lines on her skin dimmed. Minutes passed, maybe more. Finally, Elias whispered, "They're gone, for now." She looked at him again. This time, her fear softened into something else. Confusion. She touched his wrist carefully, as if asking permission, then closed her eyes. When she spoke again, her voice changed. It was still accented, still strange, but understandable. "You should not have done that."
Yeah, I get that a lot.
She studied him, head tilted. "They will return. I figured. You do not know what I am." "Nope. You do not know what happens if they find me. Also." "Nope." She paused. Then why? Elias thought about that. About the empty city, the endless ships, the way the galaxy moved around humans like they were background noise. "Because you fell into my living room," he said. "And because you looked like you needed help." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she smiled. Just a little. "Your species is inconsistent," she said. Elias snorted quietly. "That's the nicest thing anyone said about us." Above them, the city continued as if nothing had changed, but somewhere far beyond human space, systems recalculated, models adjusted, probability trees fractured, and for the first time in a very long time, the galaxy lost track of something important. The crawl space smelled of dust and old metal. Elias shifted slowly, careful not to make noise, though the scan had already passed. The girl sat close beside him, knees drawn in, her breathing shallow but steady. The faint lines of light on her skin had almost disappeared, leaving her looking more solid, more real. Elias finally pulled himself up and helped her out. He replaced the floor panel and set it back into place. The apartment felt smaller now, like it was holding its breath. "You can sit," he said, pointing to the couch. "It's safe enough." She hesitated, then moved carefully, as if the floor might change under her feet. She sat at the very edge, hands folded in her lap, eyes tracking every small sound. Elias filled a glass with water and handed it to her. "Try this." She stared at it, then touched the rim with one finger. After a moment, she drank. Her eyes widened slightly. "Pure," she said.
"Unfiltered. Old pipes," Elias replied. "The city keeps promising upgrades." She nodded, as if that explained something important.
They sat in silence for a while.
Elias felt the weight of everything pressing down on him. The broadcasts, the scan, the way the galaxy had focused on his tiny apartment for a few seconds and then moved on. He broke the silence first.
"You said they'll come back."
"Yes." "When?" She looked at him. "Sooner than you expect. Later than you fear. That's not comforting." She tilted her head. "It is accurate." Elias sighed. "Okay, let's start simple. What should I call you?" She paused, then said, "I do not have a name that fits your language." "Figures?" She thought again.
You may call me Lyra. Lyra,
he repeated.
"All right, I'm Elias."
She nodded once, carefully, like she was placing the name somewhere safe. Elias leaned back in his chair. "So, Lyra, why is the galaxy hunting you?" Her hands tightened together. "Because I exist. That bad, huh?" Yes. She closed her eyes, and for a moment Elias wondered if he had pushed too far. Then she spoke again, her voice quieter. My people were not strong, not like the builders, not like the conquerors. We did not rule systems or command fleets.
Then, what did you do? We observed.
Elias raised an eyebrow. That's it? That is never just it.
She opened her eyes and looked at him.
We saw patterns others could not, paths between cause and effect, places where rules bent without breaking. Sounds useful. It was, she said softly, until it frightened them. Elias shifted in his seat. Let me guess. Someone decided it was safer if you didn't exist. Yes, she explained without drama, without anger. Her species had been erased from records, scattered, quietly removed from history. No wars, no destruction, just absence.
The galaxy prefers stability, she said. Anything that introduces uncertainty is...
Corrected. Elias let that sink in. And your uncertainty? I am a reminder, she said, that the rules are not complete. Outside, a transport ship roared past, shaking the windows. Elias waited until the sound faded. So why here? He asked. Why Earth space? Lyra looked confused. This is human territory? Barely, Elias said.
Most of the galaxy treats it like a buffer zone.
She stared at him.
You were never fully indexed. He laughed once.
That sounds like us.
No, she said slowly. It is unusual. Your systems are inconsistent. Your records contradict each other. Your behavior does not match predictions. Yeah, we call that being human. Lyra studied him with new interest. You survive not by control, she said, but by adaptation. Elias shrugged. We mess up a lot, and yet you persist. That made him uncomfortable. He stood and began pacing. Look, whatever makes us special, it won't stop them forever. I'm just one guy with an old apartment and bad life choices.
You are more than you think, she said. He stopped. Please don't say that.
That's how people end up in trouble. She almost smiled. The lights flickered. Again, Elias froze.
Was that you?
No. His stomach tightened. He checked the manual sensors he kept disconnected from the network. Analog. Ugly. Reliable. Local inquiry, he muttered.
Low level. They're sniffing.
Lyra's form wavered slightly, like heat above metal. I cannot remain visible for long, she said. The pressure increases. Pressure? Reality correcting itself. Great, Elias said. That's just great. He thought fast, too fast, then slower. Human slow, the kind that found gaps instead of solutions. Okay, he said. We don't run.
Running is obvious.
She blinked.
Then what do we do?
We hide, he said, properly. He pulled open a storage unit and dragged out old equipment. Obsolete transmitters, paper logs, physical ID cards, things the city no longer cared about. The galaxy tracks patterns, he said. Big ones. Clean ones. Humans leave messes. Lyra watched as he worked. You are not afraid.
I am terrified, Elias said. I'm just used to doing things while terrified. She considered that.
They spent the next hours reshaping her presence. Elias masked energy readings with background noise. He rerouted signals through abandoned channels. He registered her as a dependent under a long-dead identity. None of it was perfect. That was the point. As dawn approached, the pressure eased. Lyra sat quietly, watching light creep through the window.
They will look elsewhere, she said. For now,
Elias replied.
She turned to him. Why are you helping me? He rubbed his face.
Honestly? Because the galaxy decided you didn't deserve to exist.
And I don't like bullies. She looked at him for a long time. My people believed safety came from knowing everything, she said. You believe safety comes from accepting chaos. Chaos is honest, Elias said. It doesn't pretend. Lyra leaned back, eyes closing. Then perhaps, she murmured, this is the safest place I have ever been. Elias watched her sleep, sitting guard in a quiet apartment the galaxy had already forgotten. And far away, systems updated their projections. Human space grew more complicated, more uncertain, and far more dangerous than it looked. Morning came slowly. Light slipped through the narrow window and rested on the floor like it was unsure it belonged there. Elias had not slept. He sat in the chair near the wall, eyes open, listening to the quiet sounds of the city waking up. Machines hummed. Distant voices echoed between buildings. Life continued, careless and normal. Lyra slept on the couch. She looked more human in rest. Her breathing was even now, her body no longer flickering or bending the air around her. Elias noticed small details he had missed before. Her hands were delicate, but not weak. Her face held a calm expression, like someone who had learned long ago to accept uncertainty. Elias wondered how long it had been since she felt safe enough to sleep. The thought made him uneasy. A soft tone sounded from one of the disconnected monitors. Elias stiffened and checked it. No alarms, no alerts, just background noise. Still, something felt wrong. Lyra stirred and opened her eyes. She sat up slowly, then looked around, as if confirming reality had not shifted overnight.
You remained awake, she said.
Yeah, Elias replied. Didn't feel smart to relax. She studied his face. Your body shows signs of fatigue, also not new. She hesitated.
You should rest, he smiled faintly. I will.
Eventually, she accepted that answer, though it clearly did not satisfy her. As the day went on, Elias tried to keep things normal. He made food. He turned on old media channels. He even complained about work, out of habit, more than need. Lyra listened closely to everything. She asked small questions. Why humans laughed at things that were not efficient. Why they held on to broken objects. Why Elias still kept messages from people who no longer spoke to him. We're bad at letting go, he said. She considered that. You let go of control instead. Yeah, he said. Sometimes that's all we have. Around midday, the city network hiccuped. It was subtle. A delay in traffic signals. A brief pause in public announcements. Elias noticed, because that was his job. Systems never paused without a reason. He frowned and checked his offline sensors again. Someone was testing boundaries. Lyra felt it too. Her shoulders tensed, and the air around her shifted slightly. They are close, she said. How close? Not here, she replied. But looking for places like this, Elias leaned back and exhaled. They're narrowing the search. Yes. He rubbed his temples. Okay, then we change the question. She looked at him. What question instead of, where is the anomaly, he said. We make them ask, why would it be there at all? Lyra watched him carefully. Explain. Galactic systems assume threats hide in clean spaces, Elias said.
Labs, bases,
Controlled environments. Yes, so we do the opposite, he said.
We make you uninteresting. Her brow furrowed. I am inherently. I know, he interrupted gently.
But not to humans, he gestured around the apartment. This place is messy, old, full of noise, broken logic, half-finished repairs, contradictions.
You are describing chaos, she said.
Exactly. Lyra was quiet for a long moment. My people feared chaos. Most do, Elias said. We just learned to live with it. He set to work again. He registered Lyra into local systems slowly, poorly, with mistakes. He added inconsistencies that no advanced intelligence would intentionally create. A wrong birth date, conflicting records, employment data that led nowhere. Lyra watched, confused.
This would be considered unacceptable.
Which is why it works, Elias replied. As the hours passed, something strange happened. The pressure lessened. Lyra noticed it first. The correction force is weakening. Elias paused. Because I am becoming expected. He blinked.
You're blending in. Yes, she said slowly. Your systems accept error.
They allow deviation. They do not demand resolution. Elias smiled. Welcome to human design. Later that day, Elias took her outside for the first time. The street was crowded. Vendors shouted.
Oh!
Children ran between people. Machines beeped and stalled and restarted. Nothing worked perfectly, and no one cared. Lyra froze at first. Her senses overwhelmed her. She reached out instinctively, gripping Elias's sleeve. It's too much, she whispered. He lowered his voice.
You don't have to process it all. Just exist.
She looked at him.
That is allowed?
More than allowed, he said. It's normal. They walked slowly. No scan stopped them. No eyes followed her longer than anyone else. Humans glanced at her strange clothes, her accent, then moved on. Lyra felt something unfamiliar. Invisibility. They sat at a small food stand. Elias ordered for both of them. Elias tasted human food carefully, then more eagerly.
This is inefficient nutrition,
she said. Elias grinned.
We know, they laughed. The sound surprised them both.
Later, as evening settled, Elias noticed new messages on his private channel. Old coworkers, casual questions, routine checks. Someone was mapping his social connections. He didn't tell Lyra right away. Instead, he made dinner. He talked about nothing. He waited until the city lights turned on. Then he said, "They're adjusting."
Lyra nodded. Yes, they are confused. That won't last. No.
When they understand, they will not come quietly. Elias met her gaze. Then we make sure they never fully understand. She searched his face. You are planning something?
Not really, he said. I'm reacting.
That's what humans do best.
Lyra looked thoughtful.
My people believed foresight was power. And look where that got them,
Elias said softly. She lowered her eyes. That night, she stood by the window, watching ships cross the sky. My existence causes instability, she said.
If I leave... No, Elias said immediately. You don't disappear to make others comfortable. Then what do I do?
He thought for a long time before answering. You live, he said.
Messily. Loudly.
Wrong by their standards. She considered that...
Become human?
She asked. He smiled gently. Something like that. Far beyond the city, beyond human space, galactic systems ran simulations. Probabilities collapsed. Models failed. The anomaly did not behave as expected, because it wasn't alone, and because humanity had never been part of the equation. The galaxy stopped asking questions. Elias noticed it first through silence. No new probes touched the edges of the city network. No strange delays followed his signals. No hidden pings tested his apartment anymore. For the first time since Lyra arrived, the background pressure vanished. That should have felt like relief. Instead, It felt wrong. Lyra felt it too. She stood near the window, hands resting on the glass, eyes distant. The faint shimmer around her body was gone completely now. She looked human enough that no one passing below would notice anything strange.
They have withdrawn, she said quietly. Elias frowned. Withdrawn how? They are no longer searching, she replied.
Not actively, not even passively. That's good, right? Lyra turned to face him. No. It means they have decided the cost of understanding is too high. Elias leaned against the wall, so they gave up. They do not give up, she said.
They avoid?
You let that sink in.
They're scared?
Yes. The word felt heavy in the room. The galaxy was afraid, not of Lyra alone, but of what she had become by living among humans. Her presence no longer caused alarms. Reality no longer tried to correct her. She fit too well into the mess. She had learned to exist without explanation. Days passed. Life settled into a strange routine. Elias went to work again, careful but calm. Lyra stayed home at first, then slowly began exploring on her own. She learned how to navigate public transport, how to order food, how to blend into crowds. She made mistakes. Humans barely noticed. One evening, Elias came home to find her sitting at the table, surrounded by small objects. Old tools, broken devices, scraps of paper covered in symbols. "What's this?" he asked. "I am trying to understand something," she said.
Uh-oh.
She looked up. "Your systems are inefficient. Yet they endure. Still, uh-oh." She gestured to the mess. "You do not optimize for perfection. You optimize for recovery."
Ilya smiled slowly. Yeah.
When things break, we fix them. Or we don't.
We adapt. My people believed preventing failure was the highest goal, she said.
Yours accepts failure as inevitable. And survivable, Elias added. She nodded.
That difference changes everything. That night the first message arrived. It wasn't a threat.
It wasn't a command. It wasn't even direct. It was a notice certain regions of space were being reclassified. Trade routes adjusted. Advisory warnings issued. No ships were to linger near human systems longer than necessary. Elias read it twice. "They're putting up signs," he said, "not fences." Signs.
Lyra read over his shoulder. "They are telling others to stay away. From us," he said.
"From uncertainty," she corrected. Over the next week, the effect became clear. Fewer non-human ships passed through Port Amber. Foreign signals faded. The city felt quieter, smaller. Human space was becoming a blind spot. Lyra walked beside Elias through the streets, watching the changes.
They are isolating you. Wouldn't be the first time, Elias replied.
"But this time," she said, "it is intentional." That troubled him more than he wanted to admit. Later, as they sat together in the apartment, Lyra spoke carefully.
"There is something you should know." He looked at her. "That sentence never ends well." She folded her hands.
"The galaxy believes the anomaly resolved, but it is not forgotten." Elias waited. "They will not return for me," she said, "but they will watch humanity." He felt a chill. "To what end?" "To determine if you become like me," she said, "or if I was an exception." Elias laughed softly. "They're studying us." "Yes." "Well," he said, "good luck with that." She did not smile. "If they conclude humanity is unstable at a fundamental level," she continued, "they may choose permanent distance. And that's bad because slow, quiet, absolute. Elias looked away. That night, he couldn't sleep. He stood by the window, staring at the empty sky, thinking about ships that would no longer come, voices that would no longer answer. Lyra joined him. "You regret helping me," she said. "No," he said immediately.
I regret that it costs more than I thought.
She was silent. "You didn't ask for this," he continued. "Neither did we." She hesitated. "I could leave." He turned sharply. "No." "If I remove myself," she said, "their focus may shift." "Or it might confirm their fears," Elias replied. "That humans can hide anything."
Even someone like you. She studied him.
"You have changed. So have you." She nodded. "Yes, I have." The truth neither of them had said out loud. Lyra was no longer just hiding. She belonged. Over the following days, she began to do something unexpected. She helped people. Quietly, casually, fixing small problems. Offering advice, teaching others how to see around obstacles instead of through them, not with alien knowledge, with human logic. Word spread, not fast, not clearly, just enough. People listened. Nothing dramatic happened. No announcements, no confrontations. Just small changes. Systems became more flexible. Policies grew messier. Humans leaned further into what they already were. The galaxy watched and failed to understand.
One evening, Elias received a message from an old contact off-world. Short.
Careful. Human space flagged as non-compliant with predictive frameworks.
Advisory. Disengage. Elias deleted it. Lyra watched him. "You are choosing. So are you," he said. She stepped closer. "If I stay, the galaxy may never return." Elias met her eyes.
"And if you leave, they'll never stop looking." She breathed in slowly. "Then this is the safest place." He nodded.
"For both of us." Far beyond human territory, a council recorded its final assessment. Humanity was not hostile, not aggressive, not dangerous in any measurable way. It was simply incompatible, and so the galaxy turned away, not knowing that by doing so, it had allowed something new to grow, something unpredictable, something human. Time passed in a way Elias barely noticed. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. The galaxy did not return. No scans touched human space. No foreign ships crossed familiar routes. Trade slowed, then adapted. Humans complained, adjusted prices, rerouted supplies, and moved on. Life continued. Lyra changed the most. At first, she had moved carefully, like someone afraid the ground might disappear. Now she walked with confidence. She argued with shopkeepers. She laughed at jokes she did not fully understand. She made mistakes and did not apologize for existing. Afterward, she had learned something important. Nothing punished her for being imperfect. Elias watched this happen quietly. He did not guide her. He did not protect her from everything. He let her fall into human life the same way everyone else did. Messily. One evening, they sat on the roof of the building, watching the city glow below. The sky was empty. No moving lights. No silent watchers. "The stars are quieter," Lyra said. "Yeah," Elias replied. People noticed. Some miss it. Some don't. She wrapped her arms around her knees.
"Do you ever wonder what they are doing now? The galaxy?" he asked. She nodded.
He shrugged, probably convincing themselves they made the right choice. She smiled faintly.
"That is very human thinking. Guess you're rubbing off on me," he said. She looked at him. "Or you on me?"
Below them, someone laughed. Music drifted up from a nearby window. A machine sputtered and restarted. Lyra closed her eyes and breathed it in. I no longer feel the correction, she said. Reality does not resist me. That's because you stopped fighting it, Elias said.
You just live in it.
She considered that. My people spent their lives avoiding attention, and that got them erased, Elias said gently. She nodded. Yes. Silence settled between them, comfortable and real. Far away, beyond human borders, the galaxy adjusted to a new normal. Trade networks rerouted. Political models removed human space from long-term projections. It was labeled unpredictable, low value, high cost, ignored. Generations passed. Stories faded, records simplified. And still, humanity continued. Without knowing it, humans became a refuge. Not officially, not deliberately. But when something did not fit, when a system failed to explain an outcome, when a being slipped between rules, it drifted toward human space. And stayed. No one announced it, no one guarded it. It simply happened. Lyra took a job at a local repair center. She was good at it, not because she used alien knowledge, but because she understood how broken systems wanted to be treated. With patience, she made friends. She argued about meaningless things. She learned to enjoy inefficiency. One day, years later, Elias came home to find her smiling at a message on a public terminal. What's that? He asked.
An academic paper, she said. He groaned.
That smile never means good news. She turned the screen so he could see. Unpredictable zones and the limits of perfect models, he read aloud.
That sounds like a mistake.
It is, she said calmly. He blinked. A mistake? Yes, she replied. They are beginning to realize something. He frowned.
The galaxy, she said, or what remains of its confidence.
She explained simply. Long-range observations showed that isolated systems, especially human ones, did not collapse. They adapted. They stabilized in ways that could not be predicted, but also could not be destroyed. The galaxy had mistaken control for strength. Elias leaned back.
So what happens now? They will not return, Lyra said.
But they will wonder. And that matters? She looked at him. Wonder is the beginning of humility. We're good at forcing that on people. She laughed. That night, Elias dreamed for the first time in years. He dreamed of open doors and unfinished paths. When he woke, he felt lighter. Lyra stood by the window, watching the sunrise. I have decided something, she said. Elias tensed. That phrase is still dangerous. She smiled. I am staying. He relaxed. Good. I was hoping you'd say that. She turned to face him fully. Not hiding. Not waiting. Staying. Yeah. He said.
That's called living. She stepped closer. Thank you. For what? For showing me that survival does not require permission, she said.
He thought about that. You know, we didn't know either. We just kept going. She nodded. That is why you were never catalogued. The sun rose higher. The city woke. Somewhere far away, a distant observer looked toward human space and looked away again, choosing safety over certainty. Humanity never noticed, and that was the final truth. The galaxy did not fear humans because they were strong, or violent, or dominant. It feared them because humans made room for mistakes, for contradictions, for things that did not belong anywhere else. And in that space, something new always survived.